Canal there live for us outside the court in New York. Kate?
Joining us now is former federal prosecutor Danya Perry for more on this. Let's start with E. Jean Carroll. Danya, thanks for being here. She filed this lawsuit back in 2019. But this dates back to, as Sarah and Kara were talking about, this dates back to allegations from 30 years ago. The timing in this, the years that have lapsed, is that a problem for this case, do you think?
It definitely presents some hurdles for the plaintiff in this case. The New York State legislature recently enacted the Adult Survivors Act, which reopens or opens a statute of limitations, allowing exactly these kinds of claims. But of course, there are proof problems. Memories lapse, witnesses leave town or die. And so that is going to be difficult. As alleged in the complaint, she doesn't remember even the exact date that this happened. So she does have those problems. But as Kara said in the introduction, she has won many important evidentiary and other rulings, including allowing the testimony of outcry witnesses, other women who claim to have been assaulted, various experts, and she will testify. So she's got all of that in her favor. On the other side, Mr. Trump has lost several key rulings.
And I want to ask you about, in addition, on the other side, is this big question. Well, I would say I'm probably not going too far out there to say unlikely he is going to testify. And there's even a question if he's going to show up in court at all, not required to. But what impact do you think that has if he doesn't show in court for this?
The jury is not going to like that. They're going to think either he doesn't care enough about this case to show up or that he has something bad to say. And I do think it's highly unlikely in this case that he will, in fact, show up for trial. He's not known for being focused, so I think direct examination would be difficult. And of course, on cross-examination, there's all manner of impeachment evidence that the plaintiff's lawyers can use. So that could go on, and that probably will not be favorable. So I think all of the signs point to him not showing up for trial, which, again, juries don't like.
Let me ask you about also some movement in Fulton County, Georgia, where the president's facing former president's facing other legal issues, and potentially we're talking about criminal charges, not just a civil lawsuit here. The DA has now said that she will be announcing, if she's going to be announcing anything, charges will come later this summer. And CNN is learning this morning that part of that delay has to do with the district attorney's office having picked up more cooperators. I know that's something that has caught your attention as well. What do you think this means in terms of the timing and where things are headed here?
This often happens at the end of an investigation. You have a lot of targets who know that they're under, in the crosshairs or under investigation, and there's always this prisoner's dilemma, a classic prisoner's dilemma, where they're trying to decide, do I hold out or do I turn and flip and provide testimony? And here it sounds like, from reporting, that is happening exactly what typically happens, which is that there are witnesses or targets who are now thinking it's in their best interest to actually turn state's witness and provide testimony. And so it sounds like that's happening, and there was also recently a motion by DA Fani Willis to disqualify a lawyer for 10 targets. And so there's a conflict there, she says, because it sounds like at least one of them or several of them are testifying or cooperating against another. So that also is occasion, I think, for the delay, but is all part and parcel of what happens at the end of an investigation. As it's wrapping up, people start to think about their interests differently and think in a very self-interested way and decide whether or not to cooperate. And it sounds like that's exactly what's happened here.
So interesting. We'll see late this summer how this is going to end up one way or another. It's good to see you, Danya. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Kate.
John?
A possible 3-day window for